The United States and the United Kingdom both celebrated the downfall of Muammar Gaddafi. That has obscured the close relationship between their governments and Gaddafi's regime. New documents are shedding some light on those ties. Several news organizations have found them in cooperation with activists inside Gaddafi's own government buildings, buildings vacated in a hurry, leaving thousands of documents behind. What do they show? They show the United States cooperated with Tripoli in its program of rendition, using the Libyan government to interrogate suspects in the war on terror. That cooperation extended to the United Kingdom as well. CNN's Ben Wiedemann joins us now with more on the find. Ben, what exactly did the documents detail?
Well, basically, these documents go back to the period of 2004, 2005, when the United States and other Western powers had a rapprochement with Libya after it renounced its program for the production of weapons of mass destruction. What they are, they basically document a history of cooperation between the CIA on the one hand and Libya's external intelligence organization, whereby the Americans would essentially hand over terror suspects to the Libyan authorities, despite the fact that the State Department year after year had documented cases of torture in Libya. And of course, this is not a situation unique to Libya, Jonathan. We know that the United States was engaged in this program of so-called extraordinary renditions with countries like Tunisia, with countries like Egypt. So it really does, in the words of one Human Rights Watch member who I spoke to this morning, who got his hands first on those documents, it really does put a light on a very dark period of U.S. cooperation with some of the worst regimes in the Middle East. Jonathan?
Now, Ben, while you're talking with us, we've also got Abigail Hauslohner of Time magazine on the line with us, who's also been reporting on this story. I'm just curious about whether there's any question about whether these documents are authentic, whether the governments of the United Kingdom or the United States or the new Libyan authorities have confirmed that they're true, they're real.
Well, neither the CIA or MI6 have confirmed that these documents are real, and obviously that is a serious concern. They were found printed out in binders, essentially, in this unmarked external security office, and we have no way of confirming at this point whether or not these are actually CIA files. There are messages signed by Steve, who we believe was the CIA deputy station chief at the time, and they all appear to be faxes, which would explain why there are records on paper and why nothing none of the records seem to extend past 2004.
Now, Abigail Hauslohner, did the Libyans simply perform services for the United States and United Kingdom, or did London and Washington do favors for Tripoli in turn?
Well, remarkably, it seems to extend both ways. There are files detailing requests that the Libyans appear to have put forth to their counterparts in the CIA and MI6, and they responded by providing the Libyans with telephone numbers, intelligence on different individuals that the Libyans were trying to trace. There seems to have been a very close relationship, actually a startlingly intimate relationship between the Libyans and their intelligence counterparts in the West.
Ben Wiedemann, you're still with us. Let me ask you, you mentioned the reputation that Libya had for how it treated its prisoners, and we've learned about some horrible abuses in the days since the fall of Tripoli. Do we know anything about the individuals named in these new documents, the individuals who may have ended up in Libyan hands, particularly because of U.S. or U.K. intervention?
Well, certainly one of the people who is documented in these alleged documents from the intelligence headquarters is the man who is now the current head of the military council in Tripoli, Belhaj, who, in fact, our Nick Robertson interviewed the other day. He was, in fact, handed over by the Americans to the Libyan intelligence services, who subsequently tortured him. And yes, we know very well some of these people. They're quite prominent figures. And actually, one other point I wanted to make, Jonathan, is that we were at this intelligence headquarters today, and unlike yesterday, there's now armed guards in front of those buildings, and they will not allow anybody in. We spoke to the highest levels of the Transitional Council's military people, and they say there's no way at this point that they're going to let anybody in. The suspicion is, of course, that once this story broke, the CIA, MI6, and others told the Libyan rebels, you've got to stop this. We don't want these documents to be made public.